Hi guys, today we will have a look at the inside of the Sony EVW300 camera. It will be YouTube first, I believe, if not an internet first, because I did search for internet photos and I did not find any before I purchased it. However, there is a website from a Dutch guy with lots of cameras opened on the internet photos. I will link in the video description below the URL for this website. It is nice. He has also a nice collection of vintage televisions and video broadcast cassette recorder. Very interesting. It is not in English, but the photos are easy to find and really they are nice. So this last panel, we have the main counter LCD here, view meters, the audio level settings here. Behind this panel, some configuration stuff, switches. I am missing a little bit piece of metal rod here. I did put a tooth stick in wood for the moment. Gain, control, main power switch. So what do we have in this side? It is quite delicate because there are flex cables. In fact, it is nicely made. Look. So the cover itself, you have a PCB for the main user interface control. Little loudspeaker here. You can see it is in a die-cast metal. Seems to be magnesium loaded aluminium, maybe. Here are the reference for the cards here, and more little PCBs here. Excuse me for those switches behind. Main power switch here. It is a nice one, this one, and you can see two main flat flex, which seems to be quite delicate. So here we have the main case. Card cage. So first thing, you can see the CCD assembly here with the 3 CCDs. I haven't got any shielding. If I show you the part I did remove from the other Sony camera, I took apart a while back. There was complete shielding over it. So it is quite unusual, but maybe the shielding is made by the metal body of the case here. So here you have a connector for the main wiring loom. In fact, it is possible to remove the front panel with disconnecting. And also there is the little plastic straps which act as hinges for maintenance. It is quite nice. So here we have the main card cage. We have 4 PCBs here. We have a stack of at least 3 PCB plus 1 for the tape drive here. So I do not know if I will open this because it seems very tedious with lots of flex circuits and such. And as the camera is working, I do not want to damage the flex circuit or something like that. But we can have a look at least at these PCBs. They pull right off as usual. You can see a lot of little switches for configuration. For some reason they did put green marker, green pen on the capacitors. So far it seems there are no capacitors issues with the camera. It is a really common problem with these little surface mount capacitors. Cross oscillator here, 17.3744 MHz. You can see there is a subframe here in plastic for the, no, not the correct way. It will be better this way, I believe. So you can see there is a subframe in plastic for cards here, quite nice. The Here are the plugs for the DC-DC power converter I did a repair. Then at the bottom here you have power input and such. So next PCB. So as you can see, there is no big, on these PCBs at least, it must be just a signal processing, because there is no big brains chip. It must be rather on this board here. Here. This one has a lot of small trimmers. You can see there is a big motherboard at the bottom, behind there. And so here we have 4 PCBs, but is it possible to open it or not? Seems we have a hinge here, so I may try at least to remove the first one. Didn't try it yet, so I did not find a lot of signs that the cameras were tinkered by the previous owners. Yes, you can see it is nice. There is a stack of 3 PCBs which comes right off, and here is the what must be the mechanical drive control, the tape drive controls PCB. There is a backup battery here, by the way, and a super cap. And it is possible to hinge it like this for maintenance. Quite nicely made as always, as you can expect for such expensive stuff at least. So here you can see the prism assembly for the CCDs, probably these 2 screws keeping it in place, and it is covered with black paint. The filter wheel is in here. The body is pretty thick here, quite nice. Okay, so we'll close this side and we will have a look at the other side. Okay, so on this other side you will just have the audio video connectors and the tape drive, the microphone. So the tape drive, the door goes away like so, if I remember correctly. Yes. We can see here the tape transport, and I should be able to lift and remove completely this cover. Yes. So here we are. You can see the main motherboard here, and some nice metal frame around the connectors. Here is a little bit of rust, and the main tape drive. It looks like it is hinged too, and it should be possible to lift it also. We will not try it, but it seems there is provision for it. So you can see the drum for video aids, it seems. This one haven't got a PCB over the drum. Some cameras use a little built-in amplifier over the drum directly, which is quite neat. And you can see here it is almost everything. We have the tape drive seems really in a good shape. It is not too dirty. So this is good, at least. Okay, so there is one more interesting thing to see under the shoulder pad. Shoulder pad, it is, to remove it, it is just 3 screws. It is designed to be replaced easily, by the way. And what is interesting is, when you remove it, you see there are some wires traveling in this area. Probably they did not have any space inside the camera to put them, and they decided to route them outside of the camera. Quite unusual. You can see here the the notch for the plate, tripod plate, and here the tripod fit thing, really nice. So this is another one. There are some vent holes here to let air go in, it seems. I'm not sure if there is an air path really around this thing anyway. And these are the very common Japanese cable retainer things. You find them a lot in any Japanese equipment. Sony use them a lot, GVC also. Okay, here there is a screw and it seems it is holding in place the plastic PCB frame. Nice. So to conclude this video, I will tell you about the last issue I have with the camera. It is this higher cut filter. As you can see, it is in very bad condition. It is getting frosty and delaminating, getting whitish inside. So I watched onto a research onto eBay, and I did not find anyone for sale. Maybe you can get them from Sony, but it will be at incredible price anyway. So I wanted to swap it with the one from the other camera I took apart, because the glass piece seems to be the same size, but the mounting frame around them is not the same, and I cannot remove the filter here from its frame because it is glued with hard epoxy all around, and since it will be impossible to pop it out. Maybe I can try, as anyway it is ruined, but this one is mounted with a small screws on a small plate at the other side, so this one should be able to unmount it properly, but this one is completely stuck in its frame. And you know what? I have another camera with the same frame model, but the filter is ruined also onto the other camera. So it seems it is a recurring problem with these higher cut filters. I do not know if they can't stand moisture or something like this, but really it is quite sad, because I think it will very affect a lot the picture quality, considering the very bad shape. Or I can just remove the filter, but we will have an issue with high air, so I will keep searching. It would be nice to find another camera broken with good filter, but it seems they are all becoming back this way in this generation of cameras. Looks like the older ones do not have the problem. So it is an issue certainly with Sony. So as you can see, this one is more modern because the connectors for the lens are built in the lens mount, and here it was an external plug. So if you have any suggestions on where to find a filter for a decent price, and I mean at the maximum $20, it should be nice. If not, I will try to find one somewhere. I will try to attack the epoxy glue with a Dremel or something like this around this, but it looks like it will not be easy. So I hope you did enjoy this quick teardown of a Sony camera. Thanks for watching. Bye.